Welcome to the Selling Later Real Estate Panel, Dallas Fort Worth edition. Today we're talking with Steve Lester, who's our experienced agent in Frisco, West Allen, and West Plano area of Dallas. Steve, thanks for joining me.
Wendy, thank you so much for the invitation.
I'm so excited for this. I know I've known you for a while, and I know we've done a couple other interviews with Lindy. So you were one of the first people I knew with the honesty, integrity in real estate that should be on this panel. And just so to kick it off on kind of a different note, though, not related to real estate. If you're thinking about Dallas, even Frisco, West Allen, West Plano, what is one unique thing there that you would see that you won't see in another city?
Well, believe it or not, it is a toilet seat museum.
No. You have a
Yes.
toilet seat museum? Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
there's a gentleman named Barney Smith that was from San Antonio that started a toilet seat museum, and he has since passed, but he actually sold it, or I guess sold it, to a gentleman that owns a couple of restaurants up here called the Truck Yard.
Okay.
And so you can go to the one in Colony, and their private meeting room has the museum in there, even has an entrance with it, but it's 1,400 toilet seat art items for you to look at.
No, are they like toilet seats of famous people or just like
All
painted
kinds of
toilet
stuff,
seats?
you
Oh,
name it.
gosh. My kids would love that. I'm going to have to put this on my list whenever I come to Dallas. In
Yeah,
fact, probably after this, he's probably going to make
well, the
me
truck
Google
yard's
it.
a great place to begin with, but yeah, it's quite an interesting, and so that's one thing I assure you nobody else has.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, that's a good one. I wasn't prepared for that.
Uh,
All the
that,
other
I figured
the
you
other
would
ones
be.
are like, oh, we use Coke instead of like
Yeah, I
soda
saw
pop.
that.
Yeah. I was like, well, what do you do at a restaurant? Like, wouldn't you just say like, can I have a Dr. Pepper? And she said, well, that's the next question. I'm like, oh, okay. But we say pop up here, so that's probably no better. So have you always lived in this area, or where did you grow up?
I'm born and raised Dallas boy. I'm 67 years old, and 61 of those years have been in the DFW Metroplex.
Oh, wow.
I spent 4 years in Nacogdoches, Texas, attending Stephen F. Austin University. And after I graduated, I spent 2 years in Houston as I opened a business down there.
Oh, what was your business?
I opened a couple of health clubs.
Oh, how cool. And so how did you get into real estate then?
My wife is in the title business. Obviously, I know a lot of her friends. And after I sold my Dickey's barbecue franchise in 2010, I had to have double knee replacement surgery. And so while I was recuperating, I got my real estate license, and it's been real estate ever since.
I didn't know you have a restaurant background.
I did. Well,
Yeah, me too. I didn't know that.
yeah, it was short-lived. All I got out of it was, like I said, in the long run, was double knee replacements.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough, it's like an industry that never sleeps and is never consistent. It's
Yes.
like a constant, exhausting industry.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Yeah. We both got smart and moved on to something different. So, okay. So where you live now, in an effort to support local businesses, favorite place to eat, coffee shop, or place to go, either now or when we can
Okay.
all hang out again.
I'll give you all three.
Yeah.
First off, right off the bat, any great barbecue place locally, which there's numerous. I won't go into all those. I would tell you the other two places I like is a place just outside of Denton called the Prairie House. I've been eating there for years and years and years, going back to when my dad lived up in the country. The other one I'd tell you is an Italian place in Allen called Roma Cucina. To my opinion, still the very best Italian food you could have. As far as a cafe or something local, there's two. There's the Exquisite Cafe and Starwood Cafe, that both of them are my go-to breakfast spot without question. And as far as a unique place or somewhere that I truly enjoy going, it'd be the Dallas Arboretum. It's out in Dallas. It actually overlooks the one city lake we have called White Rock Lake. And it's just an incredible, 100+ acres of just flowers. And I mean, it is a incredible spot to take pictures, just to relax. They have concerts. It's really a unique place.
That sounds so pretty. We have the Phipps Botanical here, and it sounds very similar concerts, and I miss it. And it's also freezing cold here, so no one's. I know your weather is much different down south, but we don't have any flowers for a while, so it'll be a while for us. But okay, and so I know we talked about how you got into real estate, but how many years have you been doing real estate now?
In April, it'll be 11.
Oh, wow. Okay. And
Time has
then,
flown, but yeah, it'll be 11 in April.
right. And so then for your experience in real estate, has most of your clients been kind of in the West Allen, Frisco area, North Dallas area, or kind of all over?
I would tell you honestly, North Texas.
Hmm.
Uh, I do business in Dallas. I do business in Collin County, which is Frisco, Allen, Plano, Salina. I've gone all the way to White Rock, Texas. I've actually done business in Fort Worth. It's not something I specialized in, but I had a friend whose father passed away unexpectedly. So I would tell you basically North Texas, with a majority of that business being done in Collin County.
Okay. And then what is the market like now? Is it as bad as everyone else's in regards to a lot of buyers and not a lot of homes, or is it any better in Collin?
Well, with regard to that, yes. As a matter of fact, I read a report today that in December the average the home inventory available was 24 days,
Wow.
so not even a month. But in the market overall in my area, they set a record for most homes sold in a year, almost 119,000 homes. They also set an all-time record in December for the most homes sold in that month.
Wow.
The median income or the median price jumped up 9.9% to 295,000. So yeah, the market here, but again, as you said, there's, sales are up 19%, but listings are down 40%. So it's truly a seller's market.
Right. And you were sharing something with me earlier about your county and
Yeah.
the influx you're getting of new residents.
Well, and that's going to be a big key because Collin County, which is a very affluent county in the state of Texas, there was an article 2 years ago in the Austin Business Journal that it's projected by 2050 that Collin County will have 3.8 million residents. It currently has about 900,000.
Wow.
There's over 100,000 people moving into Collin County every year. We will actually be larger than Dallas County.
Wow.
And obviously people have to have somewhere to live. And that's going to be the problem is new home construction still can't keep up. Sellers have to determine where they are going to be able to live. So
Right.
listings are down. So it's going to continue. I mean, people got to live somewhere. So, but it's quite a dynamic right now.
Right. It sounds so intense, and it sounds like it's where most markets are right now. Even if you want to sell your home, like where are you going to go? Well,
the reality of it is interest rates are historically low. They're going to stay that way. And I know just here, locally, those lower interest rates, which are percent lower than last year at this time, have given buyers $32,000 more buying power.
Wow.
So that's actually also enabled a lot of first-time home buyers to get into the market where they were basically kept out before. So yeah, it's just an incredible opportunity, and rates are going to stay low because the federal government knows the housing market is the way to, get the economy up and going.
Right. And I don't know if your market is like this, but for our area, I always have like this heartache for first time home buyers because in here, an entry level home, like your first home, they're almost all bought out by cash buyers almost immediately. And it's so hard for them to compete because that's not really probably their same financial structure. So I always
a
feel
lot of them are FHA.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the cash is king. The great thing that I did see yesterday is that with new home construction locally, 40% of the new homes that were started this year were between $250,000 and $300,000.
Right.
Which is huge because here locally, the average, like I said, the median home price is basically up to, in the 365, 375 range, as far as average price, and 70% of the buyers are looking for 300 and under.
Right. Yeah. And you hope that the new construction can, I know they said they're never going to catch up, but you have to hope at some point that we're able to close the gap on who's
Let's
buying
hope,
and what's
and I think
needed.
that is a big plus. I think that is a big plus with all those new home starts falling within a, within the price range of a lot of buyers, but especially first time buyers.
Right. Right. And then, so in your experience, do you have a preference, or do you do more of the listing buying? Is it new construction? We've had some agents like in Pittsburgh. It's a little bit different because we have a lot of historical homes. So we have agents that kind of specialize in that. So
Right.
is there one thing that you like to focus on the most, or
Well,
you
I mean,
prefer?
it just is like most agents, I would prefer listings only. Uh, but I do represent, I do a lot of buyers. I also do a lot of new home construction, because one of the unique things about my business, it wasn't designed to be this way, but after 10 years, I'm still 100% referral.
Oh,
So all my business over the years has come through referral.
right.
And so you're going to get a mix. I would probably tell you my mix is probably 60-40 listings to buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, I probably do, well, I've done as many as 6 new home constructions in 1 year. Currently this year, I've only got one that'll complete in July, but I enjoy all of it. And I really do enjoy working with first time home buyers, because that's where I really truly believe that an experienced agent can help them out and guide them, and what's going to be the most important financial decision of their life.
Right. It's something I think you touched upon, and why I wanted to do these panels is you look at agents like you and Amy Jacobs and some of the other people that are on this panel, they're not, consumers aren't going to find you on the best agent for free sites, and you're not Oliver Zillow with paid ads. And a lot of those websites that try to get in between consumers and agents, that I swear there's like a new one that launches every week or every day, like the sun sets and a new startup is born for lead generation for agents. But, there's so much in a consumer's face about these people who pay a lot of money to be in front of you. But what I'm realizing is like the really good agents that do a good job and care the most about their clients aren't participating in those sites.
No, and I think the smart ones realize that. Like, I saw a statistic the other day. In 2020, there were over 100 million paid leads for what we had, 2 million, 2.5 million homes sold.
Right. Wait, there are 100
It's
million
incredible.
paid leads.
Yeah,
Wow. Uh,
yeah.
oh, it's almost amazing to think like agents. But you have to look at these. I almost, oh, I really dislike these lead generation companies. But it's almost like they just take advantage of the newer agents and promise a lot of stuff and a lot of contacts. But it's
And those are the people that can afford it the least.
right, right.
With the startup cost in real estate, those are the people that really cannot afford it. So yeah, I was just blown away when I saw that number.
Yeah, and I'm hoping with this panel, at least consumers can see like, here are really great people that do a great job, and
Hmm.
we don't get anything if you use them. There's no expectation
Right,
you're going to use them. If you want a question asked, they're happy to do it for you, but there's nothing going on behind the scenes. You know how I love my transparency. There's
right.
nothing going on behind the scenes, and that's how it should be. But we live in a world where the data is the cash cow in real estate, and at some point you have to protect that and be able to find really good resources without being taken advantage of.
Well, and the whole key for anybody that truly understands the business world, and it's all about being of value.
Mhm.
How can you be of value to people? Because those are the people I believe that are going to survive through this pandemic and everything else. Is going to be those that truly brought value, continue to bring value, and understand that bringing value will do so much for their brand and their success.
Right. And just, I think if you're constantly bringing value and doing the right thing, I think you're just overall growing and developing to become a better person, because
Yep.
you're just always choosing to make the next right step. And,
Yeah.
and that's how you grow and develop. So if I were to ask you, now that I've just bashed all these referral programs that I hate for people to use, so if you can't, you should skip those programs. Where can you find, or how do you find a best agent besides asking for your friends and family? What
Right.
would be another idea that they
Well, and
could find?
I have to think about that a bit since that's where I get all my business.
Right, right.
But I would tell you honestly, I believe social media.
Hmm.
Uh, I believe between Facebook, Nextdoor, I think there's enough places there where you can reach out and ask for people, and then as you do such a great job of, then you do your research
Hmm.
and you look. Most agents, if they're good, they've got a website and they've got testimonials. I think currently I've got like 51 testimonials on mine.
Hmm.
And I just think you have to do your due diligence. You interview, and the reality of it is you have to pick that person that you feel like your personality meshes with. And so I think social media, I think you can get the names that way. And then, like I said, because I'm like a lead on Nextdoor. And so I really appreciate it when somebody puts on about looking for, and one of my friends or neighbors says, well, I'd contact Steve Lester.
Hmm.
I think that's invaluable. That's why I believe in the acronym TOMA, top of mind awareness,
Hmm.
always being out there and being in front of people. But you can't do it on the basis of, of, of it's all about you. It's got to be the value that you bring.
Right. Absolutely. What's funny too about social media is you can really tell personalities, or at least
Uh-huh.
the personality that they want to portray as
Right.
an agent. And it's funny, when I look for these panels, I always go on, like, if I can find their personal page versus their business, I'm looking there too, because I just want to see is, are you just doing the work? Or are you sharing informative things, or are you sharing pictures of yourself in front of Lamborghinis and talking about how much money you make on real estate? Because if you do, you're probably not the person I want to talk to, because that's not, if you're client centric and focused on just doing the right thing all the time, that's usually not the same personality
Yeah.
fit, from what I can, from my experience at least.
Right. Well, something as simple as if you're interviewing a agent and the entire conversation starts out about them,
Right.
that they're too busy talking to listen and ask questions and find out what your wants and needs are.
Right.
Uh, that as a consumer, in whether it be in business networking or anything I'm doing other than real estate, that turns me off immediately.
Right.
I just that tells me everything I need to know.
Right. Absolutely. Or, and I, in setting up this panel, I didn't want to find agents that you would contact and say, I'm thinking about selling my home in like April. Just wanted to get some opinions from you about the market, and have them respond, well, you need to sell it right now. Like that pressure
Right.
of do it right now, or let me get you on the MLS and start sending you homes, even
Right.
though you're not ready.
Right.
Cause then they're like, well, maybe I do need to, but if you're not ready, I don't believe that you should be pushing a consumer into making that big financial decision, if they're not ready for it. And maybe like there'll never be a moment where you're like, okay, let's do it. But if you're just starting to think about it, you shouldn't be incredibly pressured from the very start to make a
Yeah.
move.
No, I totally agree with you.
And then, so what do you think is the most important if I could talk today, the most important question to ask when interviewing an agent?
I think I think the question should be, what will your value be to me and my family as our realtor of choice?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't think anyone's used that one yet.
Because you probably continue to hear the word value, but I think it's so important.
Right.
And, the reality of it is, if you've listened to the person during the interview, should have a very good idea of what value you're going to bring to them, because sometimes it'll be different, sometimes it won't. So that would be my question.
That's right. And then last question, what would you like to see change in this industry?
Two things. The first one is a focus on being relational and not transactional. I saw the article you posted last night about the situation in Houston. So I would say, by being relational, I think you're customer focused, customer centric. If you're transaction oriented, it's all about you. The second thing that was very important to me from day one when I got my license was for agents to be better educated. Mm. I see so many people get in the industry and they think they know it all just because they passed the real estate exam.
Right.
And they went to real estate school. And that's just, all that did was help you pass a test.
Right.
So I'm a big believer in the education. I've got, several designations and accreditations, but I didn't do it to have them behind my name. I did them for the education.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's important.
I think that's very important because of my dealings with other agents. And heaven knows I'm far from perfect, know it all, but I have been absolutely amazed, whether the agent's a month in the business or 25 years, how much so many of them don't know.
Right. It's funny you say that. Our one of our agents on the Pittsburgh panel, Jay Valella, I don't know if you've ever connected with him, but he's always such an advocate for, you need education, and it doesn't have to be a college degree, but like you have to understand the basics of the financial aspects to it, because he said there's agents that don't know how to do square footage calculations or understand anything, and he's like, and that's kind of important to understand, like how to do some of that stuff, but it's not necessarily taught, and it's not like a conversation you have all the time, I guess. But
all I know is when I first got my license, when I realized all the different ways that I could be sued, fined, put in jail, or go to prison, I thought, I might want to know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Might just come in handy.
Right. And it's really interesting with the pandemic. I follow a lot of these community platforms, and there's one that's just for real estate agents. I don't know how I got in there, but I'm like a spy, I guess. I don't know. But there every day, it's really, really like just 18, 19. I'm getting my license right now. Like, give me some tips. And I think that's great. Like, if you want to create your own path and start your own business, that's great. But there's this kind of misconception that you're just going to get your license and you're going to be really busy and you're going to do awesome, but it takes years to understand the process, and it just seems like it's becoming glamorized, the job, and more people at a younger age are interested in doing it, but there's no what's the right word I want to use, the actual job. It's almost like they look at the glamorized parts of it and sign up, and it just seems like there's a lot coming.
Well, and you're running a business. You're running a bit. And I think what's the number that Lindy constantly shares, that 10% of the agents sell 90% of the home, 80 or 90% of the homes.
Right.
I mean, last statistic I saw, an average agent sells 2.8 or 3 homes a year. So like I said, I just think if you're educated, I do a lot of mentoring for my broker, and that's what we focus on. Right. That's what we focus on, is if you're going to be a real estate professional, then be one, and feel confident that that you know what you're talking about.
Right. Well, I'm so glad to have you on our panel. Is there anything that you think we missed that you think is important to share?
You had been kind enough to forward me some questions in advance, and there was one you didn't ask that I'd like to answer.
Please do.
All right, that's the one. Your question was, what is the biggest misconception that you feel consumers have about agents?
That's one of my favorites. I'm surprised I skipped that.
Well, you skipped it.
Lay it on me. What is it?
All right, well, it's really pretty simple. Their misconception is, I think, that we are too expensive for the value that we bring. And they don't know, because too many agents don't justify it. Well, my response would be the fact that you're making the largest financial decision you're going to make in your life and your family's life. And I think it's even more important that you have somebody. But I think a lot of agents don't understand that what allows them to earn that marketing fee or whatever, it's their experience.
Mm-hmm.
Their experience is what validates their ability to ask that. I just think that to me, people say, "Oh, well, that's just the standard." That no, there's so much goes into it, but your experience, your knowledge, your expertise, your market expertise, all that adds up to we should never feel like we don't deserve it. But at the same time, I think we also have to earn it. And the way you earn it is by being all these things and, being the best you could be. And again, being relational. So I think agents a lot of time are the reason why people undervalue us, because they really don't explain what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. And you know how I feel. I feel like however you choose to sell it is up to you. But
Yeah.
there's a big misconception on a lot of these community forums, like, well, I'm just going to find the home by myself. How hard can this be? And I'm like, there's a lot, like after you figure out the home you want and you want to put in an offer, like there's a lot that goes on afterwards that you don't know about or can't be advised on if you're doing it by yourself. And it's almost like that. What agents do after you submit an offer is kind of like a mystery to consumers,
Yeah.
until you go through it. And so even to have that education on like what agents do, like after you submit an offer, because everybody focuses on finding and showing you homes, but there's more to it, and
Well,
I don't think that's discussed.
And it's a very simple answer. It's called communication.
Right.
I mean, it truly is. I mean, most of the time when I hear about complaints about other agents in the industry, most of it falls around communication.
Right.
My agent didn't communicate with me. You know what? I don't know the name of the agent that helped me buy my house 5 years ago.
Right.
But they want to be involved because again, it is an important. And I think agents need to understand that this is a very important decision, and people want to be involved. And the process, the journey, everything can be so much more valuable when you have, when everybody's on the same page.
Right.
And that's actually why several years ago, I really sat down and looked at this and decided, what do I owe my clients? And I came up with the acronym CARE, CARE, because I thought, if I'll do these things, then I think that I can be that person of value, and I can be an asset, and I can earn those referrals that I so highly value. Or as I tell people, their trust is the ultimate compliment.
Right.
So the acronym CARE stands for communicative, accountable, responsible, and engaged.
That's great.
And that's really the simple formula that I try to follow.
Right. It feels like it's common sense, but I feel like sometimes in the industry, it's not there. It should be there. It should be normal, but sometimes.
Well, I think that's a misnomer that common sense is abounding out there. I think we've seen enough things last few months to tell us that's not the case. So,
right.
Like I said, the consumers deserve for us to. I mean, we have a fiduciary responsibility, and that carries over in every area, including communicating and being empathetic and caring. And it's a big challenge, but it's a one that there's people out there that do it and do it well.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, I'm so glad you're on our panel.